Okay. Hi, I'm Ron Johnson of RJ's Farm Horsemanship Communication. I'm here with a customer and her horse, Michelle, and her horse, Sam. Sam is a little bit, I guess you would say that he has a mind of his own. He wants to do his own thing. And so we're here to address that. So I suggested we go back to the beginning, back to basics. And Michelle is behind the camera. She's wearing a microphone, so you may hear some questions, and she might have some input for us as well. So we're going to get started here. And so the problem when we have a horse that doesn't want to acknowledge, they want to do their own thing. They, so the most important thing we need to have a conversation is attention. We have to have their attention. We need awareness so that we know what to say, when to say it, right? And so if our attention and awareness comes, so he just looked at me, so I'm going to back off and thank him for that. Our attention and awareness allows us to evaluate him, to how he feels, what he's saying back to us. It allows us to acknowledge his needs and what we might need to do for him, things that we might need to say to him. And that goes the other way. We need his attention and awareness. And if he has his attention and awareness, then he'll recognize when we acknowledge, like right now, I just acknowledged what he did for me right there. And so that's a two-way street, and it's very cyclical. We work our way around, and so right now he's like, you know what? And if I put pressure on him, he'll probably just start moving, So I want to make sure I acknowledge that. I was late. Timing was really poor on that. So I'm going to work my way around. And so when we have a horse that really doesn't care to participate, they'll do. Sometimes they contest, or they're just not real good at doing it because they'd rather be doing something else. We can go in, and a lot of people will do this sort of thing. They'll round pen or they'll lunge, and nothing poor. I know I talk about this in almost every video I do. There's nothing inherently wrong about round penning and lunging, except that most people do it inappropriately. And so what makes it inappropriate is they don't recognize the abrasiveness of the push, right? What we need is attention. We need acknowledgement. To get that acknowledgement, we want to do more draw, not push. Push energy is abrasive. It can create animosity. It can create anxiety. And he don't seem like a very anxious horse. I don't think we have kooky crazy, do we? No. But he is very self-reliant. And so if I put too much abrasive energy into him, he may start gaining some animosity and then deciding to do his own thing, leave, run around, just contest everything that I'm trying to suggest. And so here, I'm just turning myself into a magnet to get some attention. And if I don't get that, everything else I try to do will be less than adequate. And so I kind of need to walk around, see how my energy affects him, recognize how he feels, how he responds to these energies. Then I can start putting these slight little push energies into him and see how he's going to respond to that, because I want to be as least abrasive as possible. And so my hopes is that he turns around here rather than walking off, you know, and whether he comes with his front feet or his hind feet. Yeah, so we have some acknowledgement, right? And so now that gives me the opportunity to start working in his right eye, because right now he's had his right side up against the fence. All we could work on was his left eye. Now we can start working on that right eye. And the goal is to present ourselves and get some acknowledgement, right? And so look, he's like, hey, I'm going to check out this grass and whatever. And I'm like, hey, have at it. You know, if you want it. He looked at me, I'm going to back off a little bit, right? Just to kind of say, I'm here if you need me, right? Nothing imperative is happening right now. So right now I'm pushing. This is well, I'm not purposely pushing, but he's receiving my energy as I go this way as a push into his right eye. That's why he's turning that way, right? So I got to evaluate how he feels. And you know what? I might go back over here and see if I can't get him to come off the fence again so that I can work in that right eye again. And I'm much closer now. And hey, maybe I'll work on that right eye over here. Good job. Right? And the only reason I recognized that I could do that is because he turned his head towards the fence. I saw his right eye. So I set myself up so that I can talk to the right eye. And now I'm going to try to draw that right eye with a mild push on the hip. He's kind of, yeah, whatever. And that's fine. So I might use an audible. More draw, more draw. Thank you. Right? So here I'm going to walk up to him, trying to stay in that right eye. And if you don't trust the horse, don't get too close. He's not a kicker, right? No. But even still, I may do something in a minute to startle him a little bit, which might get him a little weirded out. But I'm going to try to be as least abrasive as possible. So I have the flag with me, you know, and I might move it, but I'm not going to shake it for noise unless he starts acting goofy. So he took that as a push. So I'm going to come over here. And I'm going to move it again. Not going to really make noise with it. Just move it. Making suggestions. I got a little something. So I tried to draw. He didn't come. So all my energy is pushing on the hip. Now I'm going to draw the face. Good. Now I'm going to do that again. Belly's towards the tail. Draw the face. Okay. So he's energy sensitive. He has an understanding. This is their instinctive language. So most domestic horses lose it. But he obviously still has it. So either he has some really good prior training, or he's just never lost it, never forgot it. And horses that are left out with other horses, living in a herd scenario. So he's doing pretty good here. I'm going to offer to pet. If he says no, he's saying no, so I won't touch him. If he reaches for my hand, then I will pet him. But he's kind of saying no. He's looking reluctantly, but he's looking. Now he's like, I'm going away. So I say, okay, you can leave, but I'm going to work over here. And I might shake the flag a little bit. I might cluck to him. Notice my belly button's pointing right here. And when I move, I'm going to draw the face. So I'm pushing the hip, drawing the face. Hip stop, so I stop. Right, so I'm making suggestions that make sense to him to initiate a conversation, a reciprocal conversation. I don't want to push too heavy. Okay. And so it's nice to see the hind end is moving, because when the hind end disengages, that's telling you the mind has engaged. And so he is mentally engaging with me, very reluctantly, but he's doing so. And so when the front end comes, that's more protection, and it's a confidence thing, which is really good. The only time that is bad is if you've got an aggressive horse. You know, if he would lunge at people and bite at people, well, then you want to be aware of when they come front feet first. But otherwise, it's not that big a deal. It shows confidence. Notice my belly is pointing this way. Now he wants to walk away, so I'm just going to keep drawing on his face, pushing on his hip. He's trying to figure out a way to get out of this. How do I get away from? See, he's walking a circle there. He's not offering to look at me. He's not offering to move his hip. He's just walking a circle. So I'm going to try and draw more on his face and push a little bit more. And I got the front end. Yeah, there's the hind end starting to slide sideways. So more likely to disengage when I'm in his right eye, and more likely to walk forward when I'm in his left eye, unless I'm behind him. If I'm behind him in his left eye, he does tend to just spin around and look at me. So, but we need to develop that from all angles. We want to be able to push his hip from behind. We want to be able to push his hip from the side. We want to be able to push his hip just out in front of him. We want to be able to push his hip from directly in front of him. We want to be able to push that hip that way from over here by pushing from here. We want to be able to push from here so that we can get the hip to come to us, let's say at a mountain block or whatever. Maybe we just want to have the horse side pass to us. You know, all that comes from this working really good and then taking it to an extreme. Okay, so he only kind of goes a little bit. He doesn't give me a whole lot. So I can stop his forward movement. Nope, maybe not. So here I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to steal all that space to make sure he turns left. I'm put all my energy out there, that way he turns left. Right? And again, I don't want to be too abrasive, but I want him to understand, even when you're loose, I'm able to explain to you things that I want, and I also hear everything you need or want. And so I have to make sure, if he says, you know, I'm more interested in the horses over there. If he does something good for me, give him an opportunity to kind of check things out over there. That's a good reward. So I'm really hoping to get a little bit more than, that's not even a 90-degree turn. I'm going to kind of step out, push again, step out, push again. And so now I'm going to steal all that space up here so that he has to turn left. Okay. You know, and if I have all the time in the world, I'll work on this until I get it really, really good. When I'm limited in time, like when I'm doing training sessions with customers or, you know, doing stuff on film, you know, I'll show people other ways to do things. And we're probably going to end up putting a halter on them here pretty soon and kind of working in the same way, but on a very loose line. But it'll allow us to move a little bit faster. Ideally, we want it loose. And so if I do put the halter on, I want to be able to do it as if he's loose. See, he's wanting to go up there. So I might say, hey, you want to go up there? Go ahead, go up there. All right, how about now we come over here, you turn left. Okay, and so that's good enough. Whatever he does right now, I don't care. He went where I was sending him, turned left when I asked him to. He didn't yield his hind end. That's my end goal. I need that, but that's my target. Right now, you know, my sights aren't set right in because I don't fully understand the wind, the variables, his mental variables, you know. So we gotta get those figured out. See, he thinks he's supposed to go forward. So I could probably come out here and then push. Come out here and then push. Come out here and then push. Come out here. Now he's going to want to turn right. So I'm going to say, don't turn right. I steal all this space to make sure he goes left. And so even though I'm at this angle to him and I'm pushing in this direction, I'm pushing his front end to the left, even though I'm going this way, because the energy goes out, comes back around and sends him back this way. So just by going over here and pushing, that makes him go left because that energy is going around and pushing him left. What I need right now is for this energy to go right through his hip and not go forward. Right? So we're gonna switch to a halter and we're gonna start working on that. Now he may run into the line, you know, but I am gonna do my best to not put any pressure on this rope. And then hopefully, all right, so again, he has a choice here. He's a little anxious, so I'm going to say, hey, you okay? And pet him right here to kind of settle his nerves a little bit. And I'm going to offer it. Good job. Is it? No? Okay. Okay. You know, and this is okay. You know, it's not ideal. We don't want this, but it's okay. Everything is perfect because it is. It exists. It may not be what we need it to be. It may not be what we want it to be, but it is what it is. So therefore, it is perfect. So whatever he says to me, that's okay. I'm going to use it for information to figure out how to get him to understand in the most logical manner possible. And when he learns through logic, then he will be so much more manageable and more compliant and friendly, and he'll want to be a part of things, and you won't have to make anything happen. Right? And so I may just slip this on. Right? So here, I'm just going to kind of rub him with it. I'm going to put it over his nose. I'm going to ask him to come off that pressure. Notice I'm just letting this little hook on my thumb, and I'm pulling with that. I might put a finger on it just to make sure I get that little extra. So that, but I want to talk to him through the vibration and the rhythm of that rope. I don't want to force him to bend to me. Now, I probably can very easily slip it over his head, and I may attempt it, see how he feels. He starts to go the other way, so we'll kind of encourage him to come just a little bit. Now, I might do like you know, when I work with the Mustangs and wild untouchable horses, or even just domestic horses that don't like to be handled, they're runaways, they don't like to be caught. I might work on, you know, getting them to release themselves off that halter. So ask them to bend, and when they release, when they come far enough, the halter will fall and they release themselves. I'm not going to do that with him right now, but we're gonna work on that in another way. Okay. Okay. So I took a wicked shortcut here getting this on, but hopefully you understand what I was explaining about how to make that better. You know, you can spend, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day on stuff like that, and we'll make huge progress in just a few weeks' time, as long as we recognize we need it a little bit better each time. Okay. And so here I'm going to do the same thing I was doing, and I'm going to hold my rope basically like this. My hands will be wrapped around it, but if he pulls, I'm just going to let go of this and just let it slide through my hand. I don't want to restrict him. I don't want, just because he resists me, I don't want him to be able to talk me into resisting him. I want him to recognize that he has choices. And so right now I'm pushing on the hip with the flag and drawing on his front end with my body as I walk. Now, he leads, right? We know he leads. This is why I'm starting this way, because I don't want to be too abrasive. But at some point, I'm going to start walking directly by him, pushing on his hip, hoping for a really quick change. But again, I'm only going to go as far as he's ready for. If I do that right now, that might be too much. So here I'm going to push a little. There we go. We got a nice step. That's nice. Okay. And I may be able to go faster than I'm aware of, because he does seem like a very nice horse, and he does seem like he's got some training. He just has a bit of a, so here he doesn't, and I'm just going to keep pushing as I move. I'm going to get my rope proper. Okay. And so as you can tell, I'm walking away kind of at this angle or this angle and kind of circling. So now I'm going to change to more of this angle. And I want to get more, right? And I'll work through my angles pretty quickly now. So here I'm going to go almost 90 degrees this way. Really push on that hip. Okay, we're getting a lot of front end. Hind end is just driving forward, which is okay. But ideally, a quick step and then a forward movement would be better. So I'm going to come at a little bit more of an angle just to put a little bit more energy on that hip. Okay, and that time I flipped it. And I'm going to ask if he'll let me pet him. He's not sure. It's okay. He just reached his nose forward, right? I want to let him know I hear him. That is one of the most important things when you're dealing with a horse, and you can show them that you hear what they're saying to you and what they need from you. That's beautiful hind end movement right there. That is how you start getting more try out of them. Because right now, well, before, when I first walked in here, he had absolutely no reason to listen to this stranger. None whatsoever. But when I show him that I'm listening, I'm here for him, I'm going to walk by, I'm not going to flip the flag at all. I wanted to see how well that hind end disengaged as I walk by. I'm going to do the same thing. So again, I was walking not first this way. Now I'm going to walk kind of this way. So I didn't get nothing on the walk, so I flipped the flag a little bit. I'm going to do this a little quicker. Get myself set up this way. Okay, so we're getting a little disengagement, but he's mostly walking a tight circle. Little disengagement. So ideally, we would like to see that hind end disengage some more. So this trip, where I did 2 test runs, I'm going to do a little bit where I'm going to flip the flag, let the flag touch his butt. Nothing that's going to hurt, nothing. It might startle him a little bit, but we already did it on the other side, so it shouldn't startle him too bad. So here we go. And I'll do it again without using the flag and see what happens. Okay, so you notice we got a big sideways move, front end moved right out of the way. Ideally, we wouldn't have that, but it's understandable and it's absolutely okay. First request, I'm asking. I'm not just saying, do this. It's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to say, do this. I'm saying, I'm going over here. I know what it means to me. What does it mean to you? So whatever he says, that's absolutely okay. Because he got it wrong based on what I was thinking, it doesn't make it wrong. It means we need to compromise. So we figure out how, see, he still moved sideways, right? So what do I need to do to get him to understand I don't want your shoulder to move? I can get a little bit more draw on that front end. So I can change my angle a little bit. There, right? So I got the front end, I got the hind end, but the front end got better, the hind end got worse. And the other way, the hind end went really good, and we got a lot of really good movement on the front end, but it wasn't exactly what we were looking for. So now we gotta find a way to toggle through this energy and talk. Right? So I might stop that front end a little bit, push on that hind, stop that front end, push on that hind, stop that front end. So a little bit extra energy because I saw him filling up. See, when I bring this back, he's a little bit easier this time. Okay, so I've been shooting it at his chest, but it wasn't working very good, so I took it up closer to his face. Now, hopefully, that'll be the last time I have to do that. Nice. So I'm stopping the forward movement so that the pressure on the hind end gets shifted to the side instead of him trying to drive forward. Good job. Good job. Oh, I almost went and pet him, and he was saying, I don't know if I want you to. So shame on me, right? Which is a good example of you're going to make mistakes, right? Just try to recognize them and, you know, make do with what they are and try not to make too many of them. Horse will forgive you, especially if he knows you're trying. That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Yeah. Right? So when we can show them that we care and we can show them that they matter, right? Everything we do here Nice, nice, nice. Good job. Can I pet you? Everything we do here, it's not about do this, do that. It's, I have an understanding of this movement. How do you understand it? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about me asking for it? You know, what is your physical ability in being able to do it? Because some horses just can't step, or they're real clumsy and they step on themselves, and they just can't, at least not at first. So we have to take the time. We'll stop that forward movement. Nice job. Nice job. Okay, so this side's starting to look really nice. And this side was already better than the other side as it was. So let's see what we got here. I'm going to pivot in. Now we step to the side a little bit, but I put a lot of energy in going by. So that's totally acceptable. I'm going to put that energy in again, but this time with more draw. And all he did was step out to balance. That was good. So this time, I'm going to try to avoid the step out for balance by coming out a little bit wider and just push on that hip. There, now he's falling right in behind. Okay? So I'm changing my angles to see how they affect how he moves. And by doing that, I create a database. He creates a database. We have a better understanding of each other, and that's going to make us more connected, right? And it it's, I gotta pause for a second. I get a little choked up when I start speaking from the heart, but it's almost a spiritual, soulful connection when you do that. And when you can start getting a horse to respond in this way here, now I'm on a rope, I'm leading him, I'm on a rope, but this is totally attainable loose. This is totally attainable in a herd of other horses where he might have other distractions. This is totally attainable in a grassy pasture where he may be hungry and want to eat and chooses to be with you instead. This is all totally attainable. And so let's go back to turning him loose and see if it's any good. And so when I take this off, I'm going to ask him to release himself. Again, come. Good job. Thank you. Right? Offer the opportunity for him to do something for himself. Right? And that's just going to give him more self-confidence. It's going to give him more confidence in you as a leader. It's going to give him more understanding of who you are as a person. That way, when you make suggestions or requests or whatever, there's going to be no wondering whether you have any integrity, because you're building integrity every time you ask for something in a way that says, I'm going over here. How do you feel about that? I'm going to go over here. How do you feel about that? What if I turn into you? Okay, so he still doesn't want to turn around. So I'm just going to kind of come into him with pressure. If he starts moving immediately, I'm going to sweep the hind end out and draw that nose in. He didn't come, so I'm going to do it again. Sweep that hind end out, draw that nose in. Now he's not doing it, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep walking like this. He's going to keep walking forward. I'm going to say, you know what? This is how I would ask for that, but that's not what I'm asking for. I'm asking for this. So I clarify, right? And you see, when I made that change, that made a sharper turn. He's still not turning. He's still not pushing his hind end out and coming to me. But that's okay. We're building on it. We're programming the mind to understand the need for being connected. And so here again, he's just moving forward. And so I might turn again and say, this is how I asked for that. And I'm just going to keep him going now. And I didn't want the trot, but that's okay. And this is what I'm asking for. Now I'm going to change. I'm going to draw the nose and I'm going to push the hip. He says, I want some grass. So I'm going to say, all right, you know what? I'm going to let you have some. But we can't stay too long. We got things to do. So grab a mouthful and let's move. Okay? Right? And so he just... Okay, so what I just did there was, I'm working in the left eye. He tried to put me in the right eye. And I said, whoa, hey, we're working in the left eye. We got to deal with this. So now he's saying, I want grass. And I'm going to hear that, and I'm going to listen to that, and I'm going to make sure he gets a chance to, but not until he starts giving me a little bit more try in this, trying to figure out. So here I'm going to turn. Okay. All right. So move him a little, change. All right. So very evasive in that left eye. So rather than wasting a whole lot of time, I'm going to put the halter back on, and we're going to really work in that left eye. The right eye works pretty good. Get a good draw in that right eye. And I may not use the flag and just use the rope. Now he's getting a reward for being mischievous, which isn't wonderful. So I want to be able to stand next to his shoulder. I'm a little far back, but that's okay because I'm really trying to encourage a bend here. So I might put my hip on him. Now I'm not going to follow him. I'm going to stay here and show it to him. I might come out in front of him a little bit. He's having grass. I'm going to just walk into him. Just put that little bit of energy. So this is him trying to say, hey, you know what? I don't care what you want, right? And so I got to kind of step in and not be the same to him as he's being to me, but yet show him that if he wants to be abrasive or separate, then he has to go out. He has to go out on his own, by himself, right? Because if he's not going to be a part of the herd, and right now the herd is just me and him, but if he's not going to be a part of the herd and be a productive member of the herd, then he has to go out Okay, so I'm just trying to focus on him here. If he's not being a productive member of the herd, he has to go out and be on his own. I can't, nope. So right here. And these are the things I want to avoid. The big bursts, explosive movements. I don't want any of that. But I do want the acknowledgement, but I also need him to know that I will go there if I need to, right? He has to know that. If he can do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, and there's absolutely no consequence whatsoever, then he's going to feel fully obliged to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, whenever he wants. Okay, so he needs to know we will go there if need be, but we want to be very hesitant about getting there. We don't want to go there quickly. We don't want to go there right away. Like, you know, a lot of people, when they first start a horse, first thing they do is go to a round pen and they get them moving, change directions. To me, that's too much too quick. I used to work that way, but to me, that's too much too quick. It's too abrasive. I think we need to have a conversation, explain who we are, and, you know, if we're doing stuff and I come in with a flag, or if I got a rope and I'm twirling my rope, or wave my flag, or maybe I got a stick and string and I'm smacking the ground with it. If he takes offense to that and tries to attack me, okay, now I'm going to drive him. I'm going to make him run, because I got to let him know that I'm not going to put up with that. He's not going to attack me. And then I'm going to go back to being as polite as I can be. And so here I'm really just focusing on that hind end. So I'm looking at the ground in front of me so that I can kind of get an idea on what angles I'm walking. And then I might pivot in to get more hind end, pivot out to draw more front end. Now I'm asking him to walk a circle. I'm going to change again. I want that hind end to move, that front end to come to me. Right? So knowing in my mind what I want, then I can recognize whether I get it or not. And if I get it, great. If I don't, no big deal. Make a mental note. What wasn't working? What energy was he resisting? How do I get him to understand it better? And I just work on that. Whatever he does for me is okay. I may interrupt something, like eating the grass. You know, it's okay that he eats the grass. But at the same time, I need attention. So generally, if he goes down for grass, I'll let him get a bite, then say, hey, we got things to do. Right? And then we'll work on those things. Because we really need to get this stuff better. This stuff needs to be really, really good. And so now I'm just kind of picking up some energy to see how he responds. And I got a big hole in my hand here. So this rope, it's more just something that I can slide through that will allow me to change the angle of how this knot moves. So over here, I'm pulling to the left, but if I come over here, now it's forward, right? Now I'm pulling to the left, his left, right? And I just let it slide through. If he decides he wants to go, which here I'm going to push on that shoulder, it goes. It just slides through. And then I choke back up. Any adjustments I make, it's on this side. So it either he pulls it through or I adjust it back. Either way, it's totally fine. But we need shoulder control, and we need hip control. We need control of the neck, and we need control of the pole. And when I say that, it sounds so, I'm the boss, you're the horse. But that's not what I mean by it. What I mean when I say we need control is that the horse has to have full control of these things in his own mind, allowing his mind to get these things to happen. And so we make these suggestions through our body language, but these suggestions, all this energy that I'm putting out, creates a thought inside of him, and his thoughts lead him to get it done. And so some might say this is a form of brainwashing, and I guess it can be, you know, but how I might justify that is I really try to make sure that everything I do is for him. It's not for me. It's not because I want it. It's not because, you know, yeah, I do want it, but it's not because I want to go out and show how good a trainer I am. I want to show the horse how safe he is with me, how good life can be. I want him to understand that when he's with me, everything's all good. He don't have to worry about nothing. He can leave all his anxiety behind, all his inhibition, and we can just go out and enjoy the world. And if he sees me in that light, then appreciation will start to show itself, right? Because right now, I barely have acceptance, right? He's following me pretty good on the lead rope, and he does reasonably good when I'm working on his right side. But that left side, he's more likely to say, yeah, I'm going for a walk. And, you know, so I barely have acceptance right now. But when we get into this, that acceptance will slowly turn into appreciation as long as we keep his needs ahead of ours, right? So we're going to keep asking questions of him. Now, see that shoulder popped and the nose went the wrong way? What we want is more like this, but that's easier said being out here than it is when we're in here. When we're in here, see how the nose is going the wrong way in the shoulder? I'm going to try and draw that nose, and I'm going to keep pushing. I might change my energy into the rib cage here. There. Now the nose came to me. He's more upright in the shoulder, right? So that situation was explaining to him how to be balanced, right? Because we need him balanced. We can't have him doing things all twisted, right? We get up there. If you're riding a Western saddle, you know, that's an extra 40 to 50 pounds. If you got other gear, you know, with saddlebags and whatever, and then the weight of the rider, you know, even a light rider might be 120, 130 pounds. Myself, you know, I don't know, 170. You know, with that in the saddle, you know, if I was geared up for a trail ride, if I was geared up for a trail ride, you know, that might be 250 pounds extra on him. And if he's all twisted and out of sorts, bare minimum, he hurts himself, pulls a muscle, twists. But we get on slippery ground and he's doing that on slippery ground, he might lose his front or maybe even slip out from his hind. And now he gets hurt really bad. We get face planted into the ground. None of that's any good. So the more upright he can be and learn to be balanced, the safer we are when the ground gets a little tricky. And so I'm going to turn him loose again. This time I'm going to hold on to the halter and keep the halter, and I'll leave the flag over there. And I'll use my flag and my rope. Again, I want him to release himself. See, he's not coming with his nose, he's moving his body. So I got to keep backing up because he didn't release himself. He's not released. I'm going to readjust. So what's missing? The bend from here to here. And could have the pole. Actually, he could just turn the pole, taking the pole the wrong way. Whoop. Good job. Good job. Now we can do that. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so now just tie this so that I don't have that metal tip crashing all around. And so I'm going to let him have a few bites there because I know that's what he wants. But I also got to let him know that we got to get back to work because we're not done yet. So here I might take my rope. And if he's not going to listen, I might just toss my rope and touch him. Just kind of let it flop over him. Doesn't hurt him. Might startle him a little bit. But now he knows I can reach him even from here. And so he's walking. So I'm in the, okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm down for doing it. This is how I would ask for that. I'm guiding you in this direction. I'm pushing you in this direction. Right? And so when I think he may say, you know what, I don't know that I want to do this anymore. I'm going to say, okay, you want to come over here? or can I get you to bend, or can I get you to stop? I'm going to evaluate what I think I can get, because I don't want to ask a question that's going to get a no. So right here, I think I can get this. Nope, I guess not. So I go back to this. I did get a tighter turn, but he didn't come in. So here I might say, hey, you know what? Why don't you pick up the pace a little bit? Stay to the outside. And again, this, I'm asking for this, or putting an energy that means this, kind of really not asking for it. I'm just saying, you know what? You don't really want to do the easy stuff, so let's work on, here we go, here we go. Maybe not. Here we go. It's a decent tight circle. I'm gonna take all that space over there, make sure you turn. So here I'm gonna put a bigger push on his nose. All right, so we know where the problem is. The problem is in his left eye. He doesn't have a lot of confidence going into his left eye, right? Other than that, I don't think it's, you know, he has good dexterity. He has the ability to do pretty much anything we need from him. He just isn't comfortable in that, excuse me, in that left eye. So we're just going to keep working on that left eye. If I can keep him at a standstill and I can just keep working my way around and rewarding anytime that eye comes to me, put more draw on it. Good job, buddy. Good job. So now I'm going to come over here. I can't back up anymore but he did look at me. Oh, look at the kind eye right there. The eyebrow peaks, right? He's trying to get it. So here I'm going to make sure he turns that way by stealing all that space. Put all my energy out here. That makes sure he turns left. Otherwise, he may have just gone that way. Good job. Okay, so he wants some grass. I'm going to let him take a little, and then I'm going to try and get his attention. He looked, so I back up. He's not looking. And again, my belly button's back here. If I walk at him like this, that's going to drive him forward. I want to make sure my belly button. Okay, so you got some. I'll let you have more, but and so he's walking a circle, so I'm going to say, okay, if that's how you want to work, this is how I asked for that. Right here, this is how I asked for that. Okay? Now I might try to sweep him back. Okay, so it works. He's recognizing the energy change. Good job, buddy. Now I would have let him have a bite of grass, but at this point, he looked at me for a second, I backed up, but he needs to understand it a little bit better. So again, this is how I asked for that. Now I might take him back to the fence a little bit, putting a little more up on his face, and then as we get closer, take some away so that he can make the curve, and then I might walk out in front of him a little bit, stop him, and draw him. I don't like stepping out to catch the eye, but sometimes it's a necessity in the beginning. But I want to be able to get to being able to push the hind end from behind, because if a horse is running away from you in a big open area and you develop the ability to sweep the hind away, then even though they're thinking about running away, you can get them to turn around and come back. And so developing that is super helpful, especially if you got a horse that likes to run away. Now, it won't stop every runaway situation. Good job, buddy. Good job. So now I'm going to offer to pet him if he lets me. He's interested. I'm going to let him eat. Go ahead and have some grass. I know he wants it. Go ahead. I'll let him have a few bites, and then I'll go back to doing more of that. So his little, what we're witnessing here, how he's walking away, he's kind of shying away, that kind of goes into some of the things Michelle was telling me about how he sometimes behaves on a trail ride. Good job, buddy. Good job. You know, in here it's mild because we're doing things mild and there's not a lot going on. But when you get out in the real world, there are different stresses that amplify these problems. Nice job, buddy. Good job. Okay, you want some hay? You want some grass? Go ahead, have a bite. Go ahead. Right? So now he's seeing me in a different light. Right? And so what we're working on in this situation is getting that acknowledgement to a point that it takes it beyond acceptance and really teaching him to appreciate us. Because once he appreciates us, that's when all the magic happens. That's when all the really cool stuff starts coming out. And that allows you to take your horsemanship to the next level. Most people skip this. They don't recognize the importance of it. And, you know, sometimes, good job. Good. No, you can stay. Have some grass. I just needed to get your attention. Right? So, most people don't recognize the importance of it, and they find it a waste of time, but they just don't understand how that interprets inside the mind and how much of a difference that makes in the end result of everything else you're going to do in the future. You know, and you know, and somebody may have done this with him a long time ago. Good job, buddy. That was really nice hind end disengagement. The face came on. I had two eyes. The only thing that was missing there, his head was a little bit high and he wasn't quite vertical in the face. But that was really nice. And the reason I mentioned the head vertical, or the height of the head, those are the things that tell you how comfortable a horse is with what he is doing and how he is feeling within his own skin, or the situation, or how he's feeling about me. See how the head coming up and the nose is coming forward? He's like, yeah, hey, I see you. I'll give you my attention. Yeah, why don't we turn again and give you some of this really nice grass over here. Right? Oh, that's garbage. You want the good stuff? It's over here. Right here. Right here. Huh? So now I'm showing him there's a reason for my request. Good job. Ooh. Good job. Right here. Right here. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. He's avoiding the two good clumps. So maybe they're visually good, but they have a different smell to it. I don't know. They look good to me. Not that I'd eat it. Right? And so that I'm trying to develop a significance to the request, because sometimes when you're in an open area and you're trying to get things done, they're like, what's the point? Why? What, you know, but you know, if you have obstacles, or you know, you're on a trail course and there are paths and there's options and we position our body and leg in a certain way, there's a trail that corresponds to what that feels like. The energy is going towards that trail. Oh, you want me to take that trail? I'll take that trail. And that gets them kind of more in tune with the energy because there's a reason for it. Sometimes when we're in a round pen or in an arena with nothing in the way, we have a hard time figuring out how to create a significance. But when I turn him towards a piece of grass and I say, hey, do you want this? And then you know, that's a little bit of significance to the request. And so I really like that. I just slowly walked up to him and he took his hind end out and he came over. So now this is what I need to have first. Wherever I go, whether I have a rope or whether I have, it doesn't matter. I got to have this before I can start asking for this. Now see, he's a little nervous about that, right? All I'm asking for is for him to shift over in this direction. But again, I'm not saying do this. I'm saying, I know what this means to me. I would like you to step over there. How do you feel about it? He says, I'd rather back up. I'm going to keep my energy over here, and I'm going to keep walking in that direction. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to go back to pushing on the hip. Okay, and I'll come back up. And then I'll line myself up with the center of him. I'm going to ask him to go this way. So he moved over a little. I'll say thank you for that. Wasn't anywhere near what I was expecting for a movement, but that's okay. He tried something and it was in the right direction, even though it wasn't exactly the right direction or as big as it could have been. So here we go again. Nice. That was a bigger step. Good job. And so every time I say thank you for every try, even though it's not exactly what I want, he starts to appreciate me that little bit more, right? And we're not at full appreciation. We're just seeing signs of it, right? I'm gaining more and more acceptance, which little by little. Nice. Nice job, buddy. Yeah. Right? So here we go again. So he's just backing. So I'm going to put my arm up. I might guide his nose. Up. He says, okay, I'm not comfortable with that. So I might come over here. I might put my hand here. And I might just guide. Just gently. Good boy. Good boy. Do it again. I don't want to have to touch him. So when I do, I don't want to push. And if he resists me, I am not going to put my weight into it. This is just as light as possible. And I'm trying to do as much as I can from here, right here. And if I do push, it's going to be a touch, touch, touch kind of a thing. Right? So I'm going to push, 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 push. I don't know if the camera can pick that up very well, but I'm going to push, push, push. So when I'll push, 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 but see, he's off it now. There, that's what we want. We want him to do it on his own, not because I'm pushing. The push is a suggestion, and ideally he will come off of our hand and move away from the suggested energy, not the actual physical energy. So I don't want to follow him. I just caught myself following him. There, good job. Now that was really big turn, and that was out of confusion and misunderstanding and my abrasiveness. That, right? So not that I was trying to be abrasive, but he took it as a little too abrasive. And so I recognize that. So I'm going to walk up. I'm going to apologize for pushing too hard. And then I'm going to see if I can draw him back out. Right? And by doing this, it tells me whether he accepted my apology or not. And if he kept walking or did a big circle around, that would have been I don't want to play with you anymore, right? But because he turned right around and came to me, he's like, all right, I forgive you, right? And it's important for us to know these things. So it's kind of important for us to know how to test these things, right? Okay. So I don't know how long this video is. This might be a good place to stop. But where we go from here is working more on a little bit of push away on the front. And so we did our gaining his attention, using our attention and awareness to acknowledge his needs, working on building his attention and awareness so he can give us some acknowledgement, so he can seek out our intentions, right? And that allows us to work on getting that hind end to disengage. When we have good hind end disengagement, we know we have mental engagement. Once we have mental engagement and a draw with the ability to push without abrasiveness, then we can push more up to the front end and start working on getting that shoulder to move. Right? And so now it's going away. Can I get it back? Right? It's not awesome, but he's coming back. I'm going to do more draw. Now see, he's having a hard time coming to me in that left eye. So I'm going to push a little bit, draw a little bit, push a little bit, draw a little bit. And I'll keep drawing until I get two eyes. I don't have them, so I'm going to push, draw, two eyes. Good. Now, it would be much nicer if he lined right up with me, but this is okay. For now, we always want it better. Not to be pushy, nitpicky, or just to be clear, and to always try to progress little by little and make things that little bit better each time we play with it. Because the more we challenge our ability to get things better, yeah, much better. Now see, he's not completely lined up, but definitely better than he did for the last stop. So, okay. So we get to that, we get the push in the shoulder and be able to still get him back. Then we got to make sure that when we push, if we're pushing him out, he's facing this way, and we push him out and he does this, and he's looking at us like this, that's telling us there's something going on there. We got some wires crossed. There's issues in the mind. But if he goes out like this, now we know we've got his attention. He's comfortable with what he's doing. He's okay with what he's doing, right? And so we have to recognize those things to make sure they're better. I want to ask him to turn around. He doesn't fully understand, but he's starting to get it. Good, good. Yeah. And so when I came out to evaluate him and tried to do that, he just walked away, right? He didn't know any better, and maybe he did, but he had no reason to listen to me. I was a stranger, right? He had no reason to listen to me. And his nature before this was, I'm my own, I'm my own, I'm going to say person, but he's a horse. And he just wants to do his own thing. There's no need to participate or, what's the word I'm looking for? Compromise with us, because in his mind, he knows better than we do. So by doing these things, we kind of prove that we know better than he does, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that is factual. This is a human world. We understand it better than he does. And he needs to know that. And otherwise, he's not safe. We're not safe. you know. He's certainly not an evil horse by any means. He's just wants to do his own thing, and that can get us in trouble sometime. So, but I think this is a good place to stop. Do you understand what's going on? And do you have any questions or anything you want me to go a little deeper on?
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said he appears to understand things, but if he doesn't have a reason to do them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because in the beginning, when you started with him, he was like, I know what you're asking, but I have no reason to do it for you.
Right.
And then he connected with you.
Right.
And then he was responding.
Right. And the reason he connected was I was doing my best to hear what he had to say.
Yeah.
It's not about coming in here and telling him what to do.
Right.
We have to listen and figure out what he needs.
Yeah.
That way we can respond in an appropriate manner.
Yeah.
So, okay. I guess we'll end it here. Thank you all for watching.